So let's talk about NBP Actions for Photoshop Pack number 2, Action Tools number 2. Let's go through that. Let's open that up. All right, so the first one is Neutralize Highs. Now, I know this shot doesn't have a whole lot of highs, so we're going to try it and see. But let's go ahead and select that one and play it. Okay, now if we hold down Option or Alt, we can see that the mask, and there's not a whole lot to it. So some shots have a lot of highlights, some don't. So let's go ahead and modify this one so it'll have more highlights, and then play that one. Boom. All right, so you can see it's more, but not great. But the entire point of this action is it creates a luminosity mask to select your highlights, right? And then it removes all the color from it, saturation down to -100. The default opacity is 50%. We're going to put it in 100 so we can kind of see what's going on. See, off and on. Now, in this shot, it's not particularly useful, but in a lot of shots, it's a great way when you, especially if you've done color work already and you're kind of exploring some color, but your highlights, you feel like you want them more neutral. It's a great quick click and get it done. Very useful. Now, Neutralize Deep Shadows, a little more straightforward. As you can see, it selects the deepest shadows possible, or at least a reasonable range, and then desaturates them as well. Let's put that up to 100 so you can see 100% opacity, and off and on. As you can see, it's desaturating shadows. Useful, maybe not 100%, but useful at times for, like, let's put this at 65%. Now I have these deep red shadows, and now I've neutralized them. And that helps me a little bit because then when I go to color grade on top, they're a little cleaner. Do I use this all the time? No, but I do like using it when I think about it and go, yes, I need this right now. NBP Balance Saturation. Let's play that one. By the way, as a reminder, hopefully you started at the Actions Tools 1, but as a reminder, the video I mean, there's a pop-up at every action. It tells you what's going to happen. So you can read that, of course, anytime when I'm not here talking at you. So what does this one do? All right, so it's 100% opacity on the folder and all the 2 selections. Let's look at what's happening. We have a hue and saturation layer with the saturation boosted, and we have another one with it decreased. And you can still change that if you need. But let's look at those masks. Hold on, Alt or Option. Strange mask. This is a saturation mask is what it is. So the lighter color, the white, shows higher saturated areas, and the black shows lower saturation areas. All right, so in this case, though, this one has been inverted. This is actually the original saturation mask. It's actually been inverted because we are saturating the desaturated areas. And then here we are desaturating the saturated areas. The end result, and I can boost it again to show you, the end result is a slightly different saturation balance, okay? So you might notice that, like, the flowers on the lingerie are very pink, and the other highlights and whatnot are very neutral. You put this on and everything marries itself together. Not particularly useful in this shot, but sometimes very, very, very useful. Great for balancing skin if there's like a big colored blotchy area, or wardrobe and everything else. Sometimes you just run it to see what happens because it often will give a nice balanced look to everything. It's really, really quite good. Now, if you've gone through, as a side note, if you've gone through the workflow videos, you may notice that that it's not a whole lot of the action packs are being used in detail. Some do, most don't. That's because I think it's very, very important to showcase the manual process for a lot of things. But the actions are very, very useful to make things quicker, but they're very, very specific on certain things, okay? Now, Tri-Range Sharpen Control Smart. This one's interesting. I'm going to duplicate the background layer before I run it. A lot of things are going to happen. Make sure you're in a duplicate stamped layer. See that? You can always override pop-ups and blah, blah, blah. You know, okay, hit continue. It's going to do some thinking. All right, now it's saying 3 sharpening layers have been created in Photoshop, right? Each sharpens the 3 main ranges, highlights, mid-range, and shadows. And each one has been set to 100% opacity by default, and you should change the opacity to get what you want. And you can simply turn off a layer if you don't want to sharpen in that range, okay? So let's hit continue. All right, so let's take a look. Let's zoom in. Oops, let's zoom in. All right, so we have all kinds of things happening here. Turn it off, it's not sharp. Turn it on, it is sharp. Okay, so what kind of control do we have here? Well, on the highlights, this is the highlight mask with the high pass sharpening option or function. Hold on Option or Alt, and we can see it's selected a decent highlight range. So this one, oops, I didn't mean to zoom out. This one is only sharpening the highlights. Very, very subtle. Generally speaking, sharpening the highlights is not something I even like to do, but it's also usually the most subtle. A lot of times if I run this one, I'll turn that off. Now the midtones, pretty straightforward here. Look at the mask, it's focusing on the midtones, adding a little bit of sharpness or a good amount of sharpness just to the mids. Now the bottom one, of course, it's adding it to the shadows, and that's going to sharpen the shadows on and off. Now, more to the point, each one, turn on highlights again, each one has a smart filter of the high pass. So the high pass on this one, double click, you see has about a 2.5 radius. The sharpening effect is not necessarily stronger, but it's a different kind of intensity the higher radius that you use. There's no point in 20 or 30, but high pass sharpening is another discussion for another time. Midtones, we have a slightly higher radius, and on the shadows, we have a slightly higher radius. So you can change these radii if you want. So let's go ahead and turn off everything except the mids. And what happens if we go from 3.8 to 7? Hit OK. Okay, very, very subtle difference. You can see it changing there. And if we went from 7 to 2, again, it just changes the sharpening characteristic, and you can play around with it. We can bring the low end to sharp. Look at all the tonal contrast it brings out in the hair because you're sharpening. If it's too much or too noisy, we can take it down to like a 3. That takes a little less. But don't forget, each one also has opacity. So there's 50%. We can change that, etc. Very, very specific way of sharpening. Not necessarily what you want to use if you're not a high pass sharpening fan, but very, very powerful. Occasionally I do that towards the ending when I know that, okay, I'm not sure how I want to sharpen this, or I'm having a specific issue where I want it to look a certain way on social media. So I'll flatten to a new layer and then I'll run this on it. And I might actually ramp up the sharpening a little stronger, knowing that when it goes on Instagram, it would have the look that I want. But this gives me finite control. Pretty cool, pretty cool. All right, next up, we have NBP Face Focus. Let me give you an example of what happens when we do something we shouldn't do. Okay, hit OK. It says, important, you must be on a blank layer, right? So if I hit continue, complete and utter fail, right? So let's revert. So what we do, we start with a blank layer. Face focus is interesting. It has nothing to do with focusing. It's about bringing the attention to the face. Here's how I work this. It doesn't even matter what color you use. As long as you're painting on a blank layer, usually like a 10% float, 100% opacity. Let's say I want to brighten her face, but darken everything else that's not her face. So I quickly can paint in the area that I want to brighten, focusing maybe on the shadow area. It's really sloppy. Done, right? Hit face focus now on that layer. What it's done, it takes the selection that I painted. In other words, it makes a selection from the paint area that I painted, and it brightens with the curve. And then it inverts that, oops, and then it inverts that and darkens with the curve. So look, see, face, focus, off, on, off, on. And then if you really dial it in, like a 60% opacity, it just draws the attention to the face more often than not. Of course, you can use it for any part of the image to draw the attention, but you paint an area that you want to brighten and it'll brighten it and darken everything else. I use it for faces 98% of the time. That's why I call it face focus. One of my favorite functions, makes a lot of appearances in my work. Okay, vertical exposure balancing. If you hit play on that, you get two grad maps, if you will, not really grad maps, but two gradients, kind of like using old graduated filters and whatnot, and with curves, and they're both set to luminosity blending mode. So this one focuses on the bottom. So even though this one's pretty balanced, let's say we wanted it sort of brighter on the bottom and dark on the top. So we take this one, we brighten, and we take this one and we darken. Gradient or graduated filters like this, very common, of course, in landscape photography, but useful, especially on vertical images. When you have light fall off that you want to kind of sort of compensate for, quick fix for that, very useful. The center balancing one, you know, I probably should have had a vertical on this one, but that's okay. Center balancing, look at the mask that we're using. We can control that range and that range, okay? So keep turning on the quick mask. All right, so here now we can brighten the mids, and then the middle section and darken the outside. Again, very useful on vertical, more useful than you might think with a vertical image. It actually happens pretty common. And then of course we have the least useful, but every now and then makes an appearance. And that's the one where you're flipping the vertical to horizontal, allowing you to brighten and darken in different ranges. It's actually more useful than you think, especially when you start seeing your image very objectively and go, oh, I see what's happening here. We have a dark area in the middle. And again, the first one is the most used, and the next two are slightly less used. All right. Speaking of quick fixes, we have auto exposure balancer soft. Hit OK, or rather play on that. Very, very subtle, but what it does is it hit the wrong button again. What it does is if you look at what's happening, oops, sorry. Let's turn it on and off. It's sort of trying to modify the shadows and bring them up a little bit and the highlights down a little bit using a function called shadows and highlights, along with a different blending mode, luminosity, with a black and white version of the image, which is kind of hard to see. And it's always on opacity at 50% when it starts out, and you can modify it. Very useful to use mask, though the first one I use often by itself. Now the medium one, it's a little more obvious what it's doing. See that? It's bringing the highlights down, the shadows up. Pretty intense. It starts to look kind of fake, right? But if you balance it in there with like a 50% opacity, it's a quick way of balancing the shot if you feel you need it really quick. Now, auto exposure balance are hard. It even warns you this one always looks fake, and it does. But one of the greatest ways to use it is on the folder that it's created. Make a mask and invert it, and now it's not being shown. Paint with white, nice soft brush, maybe like a 10% flow, and then you can just kind of paint in the areas that you want to balance, bring the shadows out or whatever the case may be, highlights down, etc. And then you can quickly just bring back some shadows. Are there other ways? Of course, there are other ways to bring shadows back, but great function there for a quick fix, which I think works really, really well. So that's Workflow Actions Pack 2. Again, I like them a lot. I don't use them for everything all the time, but every now and then they're exactly what I need.